We are doing the recap show, recapping last week's conversation. I'm joined by my co-hosts, Kim Lantis in Hermosillo, Mexico, and Carlos Ponce, just outside of Mexico City. Welcome, guys. It's a Monday. Let's get it. Yep. So this week we are recapping two shows. We had two shows. I think we were going to have three, but that one of them got postponed, I think, to this week coming up. We're recapping two shows. One was about the new approach to content marketing using video, specifically on how you can create marketing and sales funnel using videos. That was with Daniel Glickman. And we also talked about sustainability in fashion with Soumajit Bhowmik. Both interesting conversation. I particularly liked the conversation with Soumajit. I thought that while Stitched is a fashion brand, they have created a platform that could actually potentially be licensed as a solution. But anyway, what came up for you guys? What were some of the highlights from the conversations we had that you remember that you want to bring up today?
Absolutely. So, Kim, do you want to go first? Ladies first?
Sure. Ladies first. Yeah, put me in that tough spot. Thanks. No, it was great.
You're the best. You're the best.
I unfortunately didn't get the pleasure of co-hosting with Soumajit. I did start watching the call. So I'll let you guys go ahead and take over that one. But this idea of, I believe their solution is trying to figure out how to do production on demand with fashion, right? Rather than having to have this large inventory and then not knowing what to do with it, which obviously causes problems for businesses as well as the planet, right? But the talk that I did get to participate in was that of Daniel, and it was about the new video as the new content marketing. I thought was very interesting, this approach of what's next and what's working. It's particularly timely with what's going on with COVID and all of us working from home. But yeah, this idea that we can now use video, as opposed to search engine optimization, which is still important, but starting with social media first, which I thought was very interesting, and just his approach of how to do that. He mentioned this idea of then turning video into the SEO component with snippets and titles and subtitles and things like that. So yeah, and the approach of using sequencing, targeting, and then retargeting, and this idea of we're no longer asking for emails and sending out PDFs, but rather the invitation would be, join my group, and then what's inside that group, more videos where they could be free or they could be paid, needing to educate, to promote, to pitch. It was just very, very interesting. For those of you who might not be aware, he actually is also a book author, and he has a book titled Personalize and Disrupt That. So it's talking about the role of relation in the customer life cycle. So I'm going to be looking into that as well. But I really did enjoy the talk and the approach of video, and it was a little affirming as well for us that we've been doing video for so long that we're on the right track, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say that, Kim, that I became particularly intrigued because for obvious reasons, because we are doing video here on Dojo Live. Dojo Live is a video-based interview or series or show. So again, when we talked about, actually, I think I asked him specifically about, you mentioned video only, and so that kind of leaves a lot of unanswered questions, like at first glance. So he did elaborate on the fact that even though that a video only based approach would be like the first option or the first step into building the branding of a company, there comes a point where the text component, it needs to be intertwined to whatever is being done with video. Otherwise, this is for the SEO value. So exactly. So that was like the first thing was like, how are we going to go about and actually level up the video part with the text part? And I think that, for example, what we're doing on Dojo Live is creating the transcripts, creating a post and all that. That's always going to be like a second step, but first comes the video. In this case, would be like the interview or the video, the production of the video. The video part comes first. So that stood out for me. It was like there's always going to be like the concept of the video first, and then the text is going to come at a later time or a second step.
Yeah, and even between, I think, the text and the video is what can you do with the video itself, right? What content is there? What great quotes do you have? What great snippets do you have? And I think that's the purpose behind the company that he works with, right? Wave.video, where they actually help it and make it really user-friendly to create more content out of the video content that you already have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. The idea is to have a long-term or long view to build up developing a relationship. So one of the things that stood out was this idea of, make the video, be it genuine, authentic, have someone speak to the audience. Don't make it about the brand. The individual could be the ambassador for the brand. That's a key component to it. And then invite people into a conversation, whether you use groups or some other format. The call to action can be to invite people into a conversation. It's not a all or none kind of a, hey, buy this or don't buy this kind of a thing. So it's more about nurturing the relationship and using video as an entry point. So that was good, and I took a lot of notes. I looked at sort of some of the things we do, and I said, oh, we can probably make some improvements here and there, especially on the transcripts, since unfortunately you can't SEO video yet. With all the advancement in AI, I'm surprised Google and everybody else hasn't figured out how to make that happen. Hopefully that'll happen someday. Anyway, moving on to the conversation with Soumajit. Every time I kept hearing him talk about the platform they've created on how they do just-in-time production, just-in-time inventory, I kept thinking they're like the Kinko of fashion, but they don't have any clients. They're their own client, right? The techie head started thinking, wow, this could be an interesting platform that would turn the fashion industry basically upside down. It would be a major disruption because there wouldn't be a need for fashion houses doing major production and inventory planning and all that stuff. Right?
Any industry.
Any industry, really. So I thought, wow, that it really does hone in on this idea of sustainability. And you would think the print industry figured that out a while ago, but there haven't been a whole lot of other industries that have followed suit. And I thought these guys are pretty close to potentially enabling that. So, but anyway, that's what stood out for me, is the potential of that technology and what it could mean and what it could represent, at least in that industry, in that space.
And how absolutely necessary it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So what about the second interview we had? It was with Soumajit Bhowmik.
That's what we were just.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got lost for a minute.
It's okay. It's a good thing we didn't have 3 interviews. We would have really gotten lost by now.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I just thought it was interesting that they've invested to create an in-house solution to essentially transform the way they do business, and it's a sustainable approach to it. And it makes me realize that there are a lot of companies out there. There are some great off-the-shelf solutions out there, but not all of them serve the needs of what some companies want to do, especially those companies who don't want to be in the traditional corporate norm, that might want to be more dedicated to sustainability, that might want to do things a little bit differently. Those platforms aren't readily available. So you might have to make the investment to build it in-house.
Right.
And out of that might come some new solutions that become available to the rest of the industry. So that's what stood out for me.
Even a bigger business, right?
Yeah,
it's a lot of what we do at Nearsoft as well, right? We have our own internal systems and our labs where we develop software for developing software.
Right,
that itself can become an export, right?
Yeah.
Where it makes sense, buy, but if you want to be disruptive, you might have to build. And so that was definitely the message there. We're up on time. Unless you guys have anything else, let's talk about what we've got coming up this week, Carlos.
Well, first, let's go back to this idea of video content, and you can join our group. You can join our recap shows. If there is a show that you've seen the week prior that you're very interested in, that you have an opinion on, reach out to us, and you can be here today in this conversation.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The easiest way to do that, you can just make a comment right below wherever you're watching. Just say, I'd like to participate, and one of us will reach out to you and make that happen. What do we got coming up this week, Carlos? It's 4th of July.
Yeah, we got two great interviews. The next one being tomorrow at 1 p.m. is we're going to be speaking with Josh Scales, the CEO and co-founder of Unity Health, health technology company, on the topic of, very predictably, telehealth, the new normal. Was COVID the tipping point for telehealth? So that's tomorrow's interview. And then we're going to, on Thursday, Wednesday, we don't have interviews scheduled yet unless something happens between now and then. But on Thursday, we have a conversation with Sam Xia. I hope I pronounced it correctly. X-I...
Jiang.
Xia. No, it's just Xia. Xia. Better communication, more businesses. Sam Xia, the CTO of WikiPro, which is an all-in-one business-to-customer communication platform, also very relevant for this day and age of the intensive communication and remote work and remote businesses that we're all conducting nowadays. So those are the two ones that we have for this week, Tulio and Kim. And I look forward to these conversations on Wednesday and Tuesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. right here, Dojo Live.
Thanks, guys. Be safe.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.